welcome to Thursday's Thought for the Day. I didn't do a Thought for the Day on Monday. I think Tom sort of indicated that I'd struggled with trying to say something about the Ukraine situation, and my head and heart and anxiety were all over the place for me to be able to say something coherent and hopefully helpful. I'm probably still a little bit in that place, and I've spoken to a number of people about the situation in Ukraine, and it seems that there are several common responses. There's anger, there's a sense of horror, and there's anxiety and fear. And there seems to be a real heaviness around. People feel themselves to be in a position of helplessness. But one thing that has been evident, that what is common, is that all are on the side of the Ukrainian people. Now, I've been preoccupied with the news of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. I've switched from news channel to news channel. I go from BBC to CNN to RT, which is a Russian channel, to Euronews, even Nigerian news channels, and beyond. And why do I do this? Well, I think it is that generalised anxiety about the situation. I sort of irrationally think, if I have the knowledge, that I can somehow control the situation. I suppose I am also trying to seek the truth out. And have I found it? Well, I doubt it. Someone once said that the first casualty of war is truth. But it isn't just during those times of war that politicians and vested interests communicate untruths and also barefaced lies, and that these things are often the forerunner of war and are certainly a causal factor in the perceived grievances that can prompt war. And I don't know the truth of it all. I don't think any one of us do. The propaganda from Russia and the West is all pervasive. I understand that things are not as simple as we might be led to believe on any given day, that there is a history, a cause and effect. It simply cannot be divided into one side good, one side evil. But that's how we have to organise things. That's the only way we can really deal with those things when we're faced with them, that we have to take a side, and we take the right side is the oppressed, that we're on the side of the oppressed. And searching for the truth, I'm not sure, but the truths that I do know are these: that war is created by the powerful, and the powerless suffer. That war is always created by powerful men, and powerless men and women do their fighting. That war begets other wars, and despite that knowledge, that cycle, we still fight. That children die without knowing what they might have been in the world, and that refugees from so many wars travail this earth without a home to call their own. And I share that helpless feeling that I hear and see in others. Part of that feeling is fear for ourselves and our loved ones, because we're projecting, we're looking ahead, and we can imagine a catastrophic end to this conflict, which directly impacts on our lives and those of our loved ones. And that's the nature of anxiety, that the what if. And I turn to Psalm 46 for comfort and guidance, and I know my panic and anxiety will not give me a clear head and heart. My need to try and control these things means that I can easily leave God out of the equation. Psalm 46 talks about God's splendor and power, regardless of our situations. God is greater. He created us. He knows us intimately. He knows our capabilities. He knows our weaknesses. He's telling us not to worry or panic over things we can't control. We must cease striving in the energy of the flesh, but recognize that He is God. And whatever problems we're faced with, we can't overcome them on our own. And the bigger our problems, the less we can handle them. We have to allow God to perform what He knows best. When we grant Him that rightful position in our lives as our refuge, He will be exalted in our midst and on the earth. He wants us to acknowledge Him always for who He is and what He can do. And Psalm 46 talks about Him being our stronghold in our times of need, the shield we run to when we come across agents of destruction. He upholds us from falling and failing and empowers us to face future uncertainties. And He's a faithful God that can be trusted. And no matter how the situation seems or how long we might have been challenged, we have to recognize that we have God's protection. He will always hearken to our call. It says, in my distress I called upon the Lord and cried unto my God, and He heard my voice out of His temple, and my cry came before Him, even into His ears. But we must be intimate with Him and trust Him. He's our defender and deliverer from all the chaos and the rages of life. We're commanded to lay down our weapons of war and cease struggling on our own, but allow God to have His way in our lives. Otherwise, we'll be fighting a lost battle. We can't triumph or be victorious over the storms of life with our own strength. Our strength is nothing compared to God's. Amen. I'll speak to you next Monday, and hope and pray. I just ask you to pray for that situation in the Ukraine, and hope and pray that dialogue can be established, constructive dialogue that will cease this destruction, this harm to innocent men and women and children.